G'day guys, Ross here out in the garden, and I'm sitting here in my Agapanthus patch, one of several that I've got. This particular one is staying, needs a clean up of course, but the one behind my shed I'm slowly digging out, and in fact I've dug one of them out. Here you go, that's an Agapanthus. There's more or less three sections. There's the leaves that you see above ground, and you can see them all through here. There's the rhizome, and there's the root system. Now the leaves grow to about 80 centimetres, even a little bit longer. That's actually quite good. That's probably about 80 there. I've seen them a little bit bigger, and I've seen them as wide as about 6 or 7 centimetres. They get really, really big, and they're very leathery. They don't dry out easily, although they can get sunburnt, and they are fire resistant. So some people use them around the outside of a property in fire-prone areas because they're less likely to catch on fire. Underground, you've got a rhizome. Now there's two ways of growing these. One's from the seed that comes up in the seed head, which is not that common, and the other one's from a rhizome. So these rhizomes are below the ground. They'll throw out a pup, which will be genetically identical to its parent, and then that will throw out more leaves. So you've got another plant, and you can just break them open. No opinion there, thank you. From there, you've got your root system. This is only a small root system. I'll show you over the other side in a little while, and you'll see just how big these get and what sort of problems that might create for you. So there you go. Now the leaves grow from the inside out. So this one here is going that way. This one here is going that way. The next one's just coming up here, is going to go that way. So they alternate, and they create a big fan, and they sometimes go out a little bit, but they're basically a fan. And as you can see here, they thicken up beautifully. These aren't too thick because they're growing in heavy clay, and they will grow in most things, but heavy clay is a bit of a struggle. Over the other side, behind my shed, I dug out 4 square metres, and I took out 370 Agapanthus out of 4 square metres. So they were so thick, and I broke them all apart and gave them away, and 4 people came and filled the cars up. So there you go. So you can buy these, you can put them straight in the ground. These can sit outside for months. I've had them sit outside for 4 months in spring and winter, and they don't even start looking sad as long as they're not in the direct sun. Even in direct sun, they can sit there for often a couple of weeks and they're fine because they've got so much moisture in the rhizome and the root system. Now what they do is they throw out a big flower stalk like that, big spike, and at the top of that you're going to see a mass of white flowers or a mass of purple flowers, and they're the most common type. They'll get little black seeds in them when they're finished flowering, and then they'll die, and then that just sits there for ages and ages until you come along and you just pull them out like that, because they're usually rotting in the bottom. They come out very easily. Put them in your green bin. If you don't, they'll just rot into the ground, but they look a bit messy, so I'll tend to do that. Okay, let's go across the other side and we'll take a look at what they look like below ground. So we're over on the southern side of the property, but we're on the northern side of my shed. Now that means that these Aggies get sun all during winter, and they're sitting around the drip line of a tree. So in summer, the tree gives them shade, but because they're on the drip line, they still get a fair amount of sun, and you can see that they're lush and green and thick. I've hit the ones at the front of the whippersnipper. That's why they look a bit scraggly, but they are really, really healthy. Of course, they don't exist anymore. This is a video I took a little while ago. What's actually happened here is the Aggies have thickened up so much that they've pushed out against what was a retaining wall. That was a retaining wall with 4 sleepers, wooden sleepers going up there, and they'd actually pushed it out. And that actually alerted me to a problem I didn't know I had. So that post on the right, that metal post, is buried deep in the ground. I put that there. The one on the left, the previous owner had put there, and it was only buried 400 deep. Now these posts should be at least as deep as they are high, preferably deeper. So it pushed it out. What I did, I took out the sleepers, I took out the post, I've replaced the post, and I'm in the process of putting in new sleepers. But these Aggies are now gone because they're going to continue to create a problem in that space. When something like that, you've got a retaining wall, Aggies are probably not the thing you want. They're just going to continue to thicken up and push out. And you can see just how deep those roots go and how intertwined they are. And of course, they take all the moisture the Aggies get and they push down into the ground, and it stores it all there. So digging them out's a problem, but also that water means these Aggies can survive in times when other plants are really, really struggling. So they're going to be hard to dig out. Let's go take a look now at the southern side of the shed and see what that looks like. We've seen what they look like above ground. We've seen what they look like below ground. Now let's try digging some out. And this is behind my shed, and you can see here the sun's over there. That's because the winter sun is slowly coming up. In winter it gets no sun at all. In summer, sun sits at 75 degrees, so it still misses most of this, and yet they're doing really fine. And this is reasonably heavy soil, just a little bit of loam put in on top, but it's clay underneath. And they're thickened up to the point where there's nothing growing. I've got a tree that keeps popping up. I keep cutting it. What I'll do when I dig these out is I'll dig that tree out as well and reimagine this space. But for now, let's give this a go. You must have to look at my bum for a minute. Maybe I'll try some twerking. Now look at that. That's a great example. It shows you just how deep these roots go. So pretty much from there down is underground, and what you leave behind is a big mess. You've got a lot of these leaves, and you just pull these downwards without usually damaging the plant. And here we've got just two, which I'll be able to pull out, hopefully. Here we go. So that's a small one with a few dead leaves on it. These leaves rot down into the ground. They form part of the lattice structure of your growing media. You don't usually see them. If they look messy, pull them away. And if you're planting, maybe you just pull them down out of the way. If there's a few left, doesn't matter. All you need is a few of those roots. You don't need too many. Pop it back in the ground, a bit of soil, a bit of water, and they'll take off again. So that's one. Let's look at the second one. There's one Agapanthus. Actually, the rhizome has grown a root off to the side. It's grown a pup. And there's a second one there, which I'll try and pull away. There we go. Just a small pup with a few little roots on it, and that's all it needs. But look at that. That's ridiculous. There's a huge amount of rhizome under there. Of course, that's got a lot of energy in it, a lot of goodness, a lot of moisture. And this can sit outside for months. I've seen this sit under a tree in winter and spring for 4 months, get put in the ground and will sprouting within 2 weeks again. So they're massive, they're really hard to dig out because they're so intertwined. You might have heard that noise as I was trying to get the roots coming away from the ground. And what's left here is a big mess. Lots of dead leaves, but of course, I've got lots and lots of these roots. Look at that, just masses of them. And they will take a number of years to disintegrate. So once I dig all this out, I'm going to have to trowel through it a number of times to try and get as many of these out as I can, and especially to get the rhizomes out, because all you need is a small amount, tiny bit of root, next minute they'll shoot again. So they're difficult to dig out. They do fill the spot beautifully. They're a good plant to have, but buyer beware. And if you have to dig them out, well, it's going to be hard work. And there you go, the humble Aggie, a tough little survivor that's going to thrive in places in your garden that other plants won't dare to tread. It is a tough little plant. It's hard to kill, but it does get sunburned. So in summer, you might need to get a bit of water and occasionally maybe a bit of liquid fertilizer. And that's about it. It's lush most of the year round. It throws up those beautiful flowers, and it's just going to reward you by being an easy care plant that'll fill up a part of the garden that otherwise could be bare. Buyer beware. Put it in the wrong place and have to dig it out, and it is hard work. I can tell you that from experience. I've dug many of them out of the ground. All right, hopefully you found that useful. As always, thanks for your time, and until next time, happy gardening. See ya.